Genre: Biography. Out of This World. The Ellen Ochoa Story. By Leanne B. Onish. Essential question: why are goals important? Read about Ellen Ochoa. Find out how she reached her goals. How many people can say that their jobs are out of this world? Ellen Ochoa, can. She is the first female Hispanic American astronaut. Her job has taken her out of this world 4 times. Don't be afraid to reach for the stars. I believe a good education can take you anywhere on Earth and beyond. Ellen Ochoa. Reaching for the Stars. Ellen Ochoa was born in California in 1958, the same year the space program began. Back then, only men became astronauts. This was a problem for women who wanted to go into space. Women were not allowed to even apply for the job. Luckily, the space program began accepting women in 1978. Sally Ride, the first female astronaut, went into space in 1983. In fact, it was Sally Ride's mission that gave Ellen Ochoa the idea of becoming an astronaut. When Ellen Ochoa began college, she thought she would be a professional musician, then changed her mind. When she went to Stanford University, she heard about the skills an astronaut required. She decided to try to join the astronaut program. Unfortunately, Ochoa was not chosen. She did not have the right skills. Most astronauts were men. She wasn't a military pilot like many astronauts. She wasn't athletic and strong. But Ellen wanted to go into space. She knew this was a problem she could solve. I can't imagine not wanting to go into space, Ochoa says. She did not give up her dream. Ellen Ochoa trained hard to become an astronaut. Young Ellen was a good math and science student. Stop and check. Reread. What inspired Ellen Ochoa to become an astronaut? Reread to find out. At Stanford, Ochoa studied subjects related to space. She did research for several inventions that helped solve problems in space. One of her inventions helped guide robotic arms for work in space. Robotic arms look like human arms. They have parts that move like a shoulder, an elbow, and a wrist. They do jobs that are too hard or dangerous for people. Many tasks in outer space require astronauts to use robotic arms. Ochoa's experience with robotic arms helped her get into the astronaut program in 1991. Ochoa controlled the space shuttle's robotic arm. One of Ochoa's inventions helps guide robotic arms. Training in space. Before she could join the space program and be an astronaut, Ochoa had one more problem to solve. She had to get herself ready. It was not an easy task. She began training in 1990. Her strong background in math and science helped her do well in these new classes. She also had to pass a physical exam to get into the program. She learned to work on the real machines astronauts use during space flights. In training, things keep breaking, and problems have to be solved, Ochoa says. I was in training for 3 years before my first mission. During training, astronauts work on machines that get them used to working in space. One machine creates weightlessness conditions that astronauts feel in space. Weightlessness is the fun part of the mission, Ochoa says. I guess the closest thing would be swimming or scuba diving. What is odd is that weightlessness seems more natural. Astronauts are trained to get used to feeling weightless. Stop and check. Reread. How did Ellen Ochoa train to be an astronaut? Reread to find out. An interview with Ellen Ochoa. Student reporters interviewed Ellen Ochoa. Here are some of their questions and her answers. What is NASA training like? In training, we prepare for anything that could happen on a space mission, anything that could go wrong. Nothing has ever gone wrong on any of my missions, and our training helps us make sure that nothing will. For my last mission, we trained for 9 months before the actual flight. How do you sleep on the space shuttle? On my last mission, we slept in what can best be described as a sleeping bag with hooks. You would find a place to hook onto and float in. What do you look for in a potential astronaut, and what is their average age? Most of the people who are selected are between the ages of 30 to 40. We look for a college education in science or technology. We look for people who can do many things well, because people with multiple skills can usually learn things quickly. This is a very important skill for an astronaut. Astronauts are able to sleep even in weightless conditions. Space work is teamwork. An astronaut must be both a team player and a leader as well, Ochoa says. She tells students, you should get involved in activities where you work closely with other people. Working closely with others is an essential part of being an astronaut and solving problems in space. First, there is the ground crew. They inspect and repair the shuttle before each mission. Next, mission control workers guide the astronauts through each moment of a mission and debrief them on procedures. They are responsible for knowing how equipment is working and how the astronauts are feeling. The crew on a space shuttle must work together to get their jobs done. During a spaceflight, the teamwork continues. Ochoa and the other astronauts work together to meet the goals of their mission. A spaceflight crew is like a sports team. The commander of the shuttle is the team captain. He or she makes the crucial decisions that have serious effects on a mission. On her first mission in 1993, Ellen Ochoa was a mission specialist. Mission specialists are scientists who do experiments. Ochoa used a robotic arm to send and get back a satellite that collected information about the sun. Then, in 1994, Ochoa was the payload commander on her second mission. The payload might be supplies or equipment such as the robotic arm. She did satellite studies of the sun's effects on Earth's climate or weather. Each person in mission control works together to make the mission a success. Space jobs. In 1999, Ochoa was a mission specialist again on a space flight. During this flight, she and the crew delivered supplies to the International Space Station. She also walked in space for the first time during this mission. Finally, in 2002, Ochoa took her last space flight. Again, she worked on the International Space Station. She used the robotic arm to deliver supplies and help build new parts of the space station. Between missions, Ochoa continued working. She worked with astronauts and ground crew to prepare for other space missions. Astronauts have to work closely together in tight spaces. Ellen Ochoa's life today. Today, Ochoa likes to travel to tell students and teachers about her experiences as an astronaut. She finds it exciting to communicate with students. She tells them how she solved the problem of becoming an astronaut. She likes to describe life aboard the space shuttle. I'm not trying to make every kid an astronaut, but I want kids to think about a career and the preparation they'll need, Ochoa says. I tell students that the opportunities I had were a result of having a good educational background. Education is what allows you to stand out. Ellen Ochoa has realized her dream. She became an astronaut and she has traveled into space 4 times. Altogether, Ochoa has spent nearly 980 hours in space. Her space missions have taken her more than 16 million miles around Earth. That is more than 640 trips around Earth at the equator. Ellen Ochoa's job has truly taken her out of this world. Blast off. Some facts about Ellen's trips. STS-56, Atlas II, Discovery. Date, April 4 through 17, 1993. Time and space, 9 days. Miles traveled, 3.9 million. STS-66, Atlantis. Date, November 3 through 14, 1994. Time and space, 11 days. Miles traveled, 4.5 million. STS-96, Discovery. Date, May 27 to June 6, 1999. Time and space, 10 days. Miles traveled, 3.8 million. STS-110, Atlantis. Date, April 8 to 19, 2002. Time and space, 10 days. Miles traveled, 4.5 million. Stop and check. Summarize. What do astronauts do? Tell the details you learned in this story.
Respond to the text. Summarize. Summarize the important events in Ellen Ochoa's story. The details from your problem and solution chart may help you. Write. How do the text features in Ellen Ochoa's biography help you understand how she reached her goals? Use these sentence frames to help organize your text evidence. The author uses photographs and captions to: the sidebars helped me understand. I know Ellen Ochoa reached her goals because the author.
Make connections. Tell how goals helped Ellen Ochoa to become an astronaut. Tell why it is important for people to set goals.